The refreshed 2024 Sonata is coming to our shores. The Catfish, El Bagre, El Saludo, it is gone and replaced with this sleek, futuristic design. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the exterior here. We have this light bar and aluminum badge here of the Hyundai badge kind of pressed flat against the sheet metal of the hood. I think it looks awesome. The headlights are really far out there. Kind of gives me a hammerhead design. You know, Toyota likes using that hammerhead design language as well. And we see what we're looking at here is the hybrid because we kind of have these cookie cutter designed wheels, which have lived on. The side body lines are about the same. The roof line's the same. It's just a refresh of the old model. Now, they're saying even though it has a more of an aggressive front end, it's actually more aerodynamic than the more slippery looking Catfish front end. We also have these little indentations and scoops or vents, whatever you want to call them, here on the front fender. All trim levels get it. They look a little bit spiffier in the inline, as we'll find out here in a little bit. All right, let's look at the back because the back has been redesigned as well. Here on the hybrid, no visible exhaust tips, very smooth here on the bottom, a little diffuser in the middle. And then we have the H style rear taillights, which look a lot like the new Elantra's rear taillights. I don't know if I like them better than the wraparound rear taillights that we had on the outgoing Sonata. Sonata typed into the lift gate here. This vehicle, this one being a hybrid, means it's still front wheel drive, but I have great news for you guys because the new Sonata has all wheel drive as an option here. Take that Honda Accord. We finally have all wheel drive, and no, it's not in the 2.5 turbo inline. It is only on the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated. So that's in my opinion, other than the design, that's one of the biggest differences and additions here to the 2024 Sonata. All-wheel drive coming for this bad boy. And it will be hitting the dealers this fall, so stay tuned for that. And I like this 3D effect actually going on, how the Hyundai logo is kind of buried inside with this sort of blocky interior. Behind, I don't know, looks really cool. I like the 3D effect that it has going on as well. Now getting on to the interior, we do have leather seats here. They look pretty plain as you'll see in the inline. The inline looks pretty good. Now they've simplified the dash here. Now we have two 12-inch screens. Let me show you guys that. Now these 12-inch screens I don't believe are standard. They're just going to be on the higher end trims. But these screens are kind of curved towards the driver instead of being flat with the dash, which I like that. I like that driver-centric focus. But let's get back to this instrument cluster here. They've simplified this. So no longer do you have the flashy animations, which I kind of like, even though they've been around for a long time. They're a little cheesy, but it's still a little character. They've taken all that character out and made this as simple and minimal as possible, which I don't mind either. So when you change the driving modes, you don't get a cool animation. You just get the red line numbers, 6, 7, and 8,000 RPM turning red. And you get the sport icon on the bottom. You know, let me know down below if you're going to miss those animations. Pretty basic pedals here on the hybrid. We also have slightly updated software here that is over-the-air updatable for the first time as well. Like I said, for the first time ever, we get a Hyundai with all-wheel drive in a sedan, which is pretty cool. Anyways, love this setup with the simplicity of the knobs, volume knob, tuning knob, climate control knob, touch capacitive fan control, but at least it's there that I have direct manipulation over. I don't see buttons here for heated and ventilated seats, only heated steering wheel. So you probably have to go through the screen potentially to turn on heated and ventilated seats. All right, we have drive control knob here replacing the push button. I think it was a push button start on the Sonata. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know it was on the steering column. So I like this placement of the steering column drive controls like we first saw in the Ioniq 5 from Hyundai. Also, like the Ioniq 5, we don't have the Hyundai logo on the steering wheel. They've simplified it to just 4 dots, which represents H in Morse code. USB-Cs, ladies and gentlemen, give it up. We have USB-Cs. Also give it up. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto across the entire lineup. So yes, it's no longer just on the base grade. It's great to see that. All right, let's look at the inline here. This is an all-new color, I believe, for the inline. I'll put what it is in the description. I like these 5-spoke looking wheels. I typically hate two-tone wheels, but these look pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Also, inline badge there on the front. Now, the front end is more aggressive than the hybrid we just looked at, but honestly, it looks super similar, and unless you have a trained eye, you might not be able to tell the difference. Also, on the side here, you see this vent the inline badge here. It has a lot more style, a lot more character with the inline badge. You have a blacked out window surround, blacked out mirrors here on the inline. Let's go ahead and get to the back of the vehicle because we're going to see some quad tip exhaust looking sick. The diffuser at the bottom, and the rear taillights look to be pretty much the same. Interestingly, there is no inline badge on the back, I just noticed. The hybrid that we saw said the hybrid, right? And I would assume on the 2.5 liter with the HTRAC that they would put HTRAC all-wheel drive on the back as well. Now, they've moved the button to open the trunk lid, which, my God, I don't think I've ever had any more difficulty than I had with the Sonata in opening the rear trunk lid. I think they do have, for the first time ever, also an automated trunk lid, which is a first in segment. I don't know if it's just first in segment for the Sonata, but it could be for the industry that on the top limited trim, you're going to have an automated trunk, which is pretty cool, typically a luxury feature. But anyways, back to the trunk lid that was very difficult to open. You had to I've got to pause this. You had to press right here or here. It was, I think it was at the bottom of the H to lift the trunk lid. There was no indication of where this hidden button was. Now it looks like it's in a more traditional location, buried inside spoiler next to what looks to be the backup camera. So love to see that. Happy that this vehicle is getting better in every way. The powertrains are all identical besides the addition of the all-wheel drive, so don't need to talk too much about horsepower numbers or fuel economy. They did say fuel economy will get better on this because of the new aerodynamic design, and we don't have pricing, we don't have efficiency numbers yet, but we know this vehicle is coming out in by the end of this year. Hopefully I can drive it at the Hyundai Kona Media Drive next week. That would be awesome to get my hands on it, to tell you my impressions, what I think of it with the naked eye, and my impressions from the driving feel, things like that. But I'm going to shut it down there. Excited for the new Sonata. Rest in peace, Catfish. You'll always live on in my heart. You were an iconic design piece that no one will ever forget, I don't think, in the automotive industry. This is more of a safe bet. It's a more attractive bet. It starts to look more like any other vehicle out there on the road. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Catching the next one. Peace.